Night 2 recap. Let's go ahead and get into it. So the evening continued underscoring the themes that Kamala Harris will focus on in her presidency, primarily those being housing, healthcare, and reproductive rights. And she had Governor Grisham of New Mexico, as well as Tammy Duckworth, who is the senator from Illinois, address some of these issues, particularly those of healthcare. So as with Night 1, Jamie Harrison welcomed delegates to Night 2 of the convention. Patti LaBelle sung the tribute to those who passed away, yet who were impactful to the Democratic Party. She was followed up by the grandsons of former presidents Jimmy Carter as well as JFK, and they came and they greeted the convention and they connected their grandfathers' respective presidencies to the Harris-Walz campaign. They were followed up by Malcolm Kenyatta of Pennsylvania, who, as with Mallory McMorrow on evening 1, came out with the Project 2025 book and read from the actual book. Specifically, Malcolm Kenyatta underscored the fact that Project 2025 will stop Medicare, that it will remove the caps for out-of-pocket expenses, and that it will also eliminate overtime pay and add an additional $1,800 per year in taxes for individuals. So a consistent theme with Project 2025 there in driving that home. The DNC's favorite rapper, Common, also made an appearance, and he was followed up by former Trump supporters as well as traditionally conservative, moderate conservative commentator Anna Navarro. And former Trump supporters talked about how Trump's policies impacted their lives and their businesses, while Anna Navarro talked about Kamala Harris as a person. And she also described these different dictators around the world, and the particular descriptions that she was using mapped evenly onto Trump. From there, Stephanie Gresham came out. You may not necessarily remember her, but she was the press secretary under the Trump administration, or within the Trump administration rather. And the reason why you may not remember her is because the Trump administration was not giving press conferences at that particular point in time. And she talked about Trump's character behind the scenes, as well as what you will remember is that she was the first high-level official in the Trump administration to step down when January 6th took place. And she definitely also addressed the text that took place between her and Melania in terms of when January 6th was going down. And she was like, hey, Melania, would you like me to send out something that says everybody can peacefully protest, but we need to calm the violence down? And Melania texted back to her, no. And they had that particular text on the screen for everyone to see. That moment was followed up by Senator Gary Peters of Michigan to speak directly to the Midwestern states in addressing their concerns about manufacturing, unions, pensions. And he spoke about how Kamala Harris was the tie-breaking vote to save the American Rescue Act that allowed Midwesterners as well as union members to keep their pensions. And he was also joined on stage by the Teamsters. And from there, or many members of the Teamsters, I should say, after that, the state roll call took place. The state roll call was assisted by DJ Cassidy. You may recognize him from the pandemic. And of course, Atlanta had to turn up. So Lil Jon was there to bring in the state of Georgia. He did a mashup of Turn Up for What, as well as From the Windows to the Walls. You all can already see the connection there. Kamala Harris then came on scene after that, and she was actually streamed into the convention because she was doing a rally across the way in Milwaukee. And what this did an excellent job of demonstrating is that she is someone who can walk and chew gum at the same time, that she is an executive who feels comfortable delegating responsibility so that she can handle other things. And of course, she will formally accept the nomination on Thursday when she gives her speech. She was followed up by Chuck Schumer, who talked about building a better tomorrow and making sure that the Senate stays blue, and that he believes that that will take place. He talked about the Biden-Harris record. He talked about Kamala Harris being the tie-breaking vote over 30 times in the Senate. And he also talked about Trump being a discriminative person, and that Chuck Schumer also encouraged those who share his faith to really think about who Trump is from there. Bernie Sanders came out on stage, and of course he talked about those things that matter to him. And those items would be health care for all, moving from minimum wage to a working wage, to a livable wage, and that the war needs to end now that is taking place between Israel and Palestine. He also reinforced the importance of getting out and vote so that way Project 2025 can go away. And he also underscored the Biden-Harris record. But most important to him was moving from minimum wage to a livable wage. He was followed up by J.B. Pritzker of Illinois. This is a must-watch speech, so make sure you go and watch it. Or find time to go and watch it. And he welcomed everyone to Chicago. He talked about what he was able to accomplish as governor of Illinois. And specifically, he talked about Trump crafting his policy to appeal to Elon. And this is important because you'll remember from night one that Trump did announce that he is looking to make Elon a member of his cabinet and or a high-ranking advisor. And he also stated importantly that, quote, stop expecting women to clean up messes without the authority and title of the job. So obviously he was talking about the political work of women and what they've done in the United States, and that it's time for a woman to be president. From him, after J.B. Pritzker, came Kenneth Chenault, who is the former CEO of American Express, and this struck a different tone for the convention that we had not heard from night one. And he spoke directly to businesses, and he said that businesses need stability and certainty, and that Trump does not provide that. That Trump is very unpredictable, but that Kamala Harris will provide that stability that is needed. So he was there to obviously appeal to business executives and to get them to buy in. From there, a video on Harris's legal career played on the screen. This has been an area that the campaign hasn't necessarily leaned into before, but they are now leaning in. And they brought out Angela Also Brooks, who is a U.S. Senate candidate from Maryland, to talk about this. She's known Kamala Harris for 14 years. She talked about Kamala Harris as a mentor. And specifically, she talked about Kamala Harris's Back on Track program, as well as her ability to get $20 billion from banks because of the mortgage crisis, as well as oil companies who did environmental harm. Notably, she did not touch on Kamala Harris's controversial truancy program. So obviously they're trying to appeal to younger voters who have some questions and criticism around Kamala Harris's legal career. From there, John Giles, who is the Republican mayor of Mesa, Arizona, came out and said, hey, listen, the Biden-Harris administration has backed me, and we need an adult in the White House. We do not need a child in the White House. And he said that, quote, McCain is gone and there is nothing owed to what is left, that this is not the Republican Party that it once was, and that he is concerned for the Republican Party, and that he's throwing his full endorsement and weight behind Kamala Harris. After he finished up, Doug Emhoff was introduced by his son. Doug Emhoff, as you all know, is Kamala Harris's husband and the second gentleman. And he allowed everyone to get to know Kamala at a more intimate level. And he spoke to how they met and how she became who she is today. And after he finished, the crowd went crazy because Michelle Obama came out on stage. And it was very, very loud. And she encouraged everyone by saying, we need to marry hope to action. And she really, really threw her support behind Kamala Harris. If there is ever an endorsement, this was a true endorsement and a must-watch speech as well. She also, gave a counter to Trump. She said everyone does not benefit from the grace of failing forward, of the affirmative action of generational wealth, in cheating others when things do not go their way. She specifically spoke to her experience of Trump and his words about herself, as well as President Obama, and how that hurt them. And she also said this.
I want to know, who's going to tell him that the job he's currently seeking might just be one of those black jobs?
That, of course, drove the crowd wild. And after they calmed down, she said the election will be close. We have to keep our eyes open and keep working. And then she introduced Barack, but her speech is definitely a must-watch. So President Barack Obama came out on stage. He talked about the Obama-Biden legacy, then the Biden-Harris legacy, and then placing, this was obviously done to place Kamala Harris's presidency in this arc of Democratic leadership. He talked about the direction that the country needs to go. He talked about Trump is being dangerous, and he said, don't boo, vote, let's get to work. So that is the synopsis from night 2. Keep it locked here. I'll see you for night 3. Check you later. Bye.